there was an away mission, and the red shirt wasn't the one that died. Well, they're right. This really isn't Star Trek. Hello, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all sorts of pop culture, geeky type things. And today we're talking about Star Trek Discovery, or Disco. Disco. We're going to be talking about the new episode, first episode of Season 2. But before that, I've got a little axe to grind with whoever's in charge of these things. But on behalf of my fellow UK citizens and UK Star Trek fans, I have a bug to pick about bloomin' short treks. Ever since Short Treks was announced, we've been asking on social media and everywhere we could think to ask, hey, are we getting these over here? Because no announcements, and there were still no announcements, no replies to those, and then, oh look, they suddenly drop on Netflix the day before the new series. Like, why couldn't you have told us that from the beginning, if that was your plan? Why the secrecy? Huh? You had to cram them in before watching the first episode. It was very inconsiderate. I don't know if it's Netflix's fault, or CBS's fault, or I don't know whose fault it is, but sort it out for next time. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the proper reason for this video, reviewing the new episode. Now last year, for Season 1, I did review it, but I reviewed it in chunks. I reviewed the first couple of episodes, the two-parter, as a video, and then I did a sort of first half of the season review and a second half of the season review. But I think I might try and do an every episode review this time after it becomes available on Netflix. So we'll see if I manage to keep that up. But I don't have any Doctor Who new episodes to review at the moment, so why not do Star Trek instead? That's my plan anyway. So Brother, the first episode of the second season of Star Trek Discovery. What was it like? Well, it picks up where Season 2 left off. They have found a Enterprise with a distress call emitting. I say picks up. I mean, there is some narration and some flashbacks to Burnham's history before we pick right back up where it left off. But effectively, that's where it picks up. Actually, let's talk about the narration now, because I didn't like the narration. Narration to start an episode is a very difficult thing to pull off, and I don't think many shows do it well. Some shows have it wrapped into their whole thing and they have it every episode, and I don't like it then. I don't think many shows do narration very well. It's probably one of the reasons cinema sins and TV sins always sin narration, because it's very rarely done well. Kind of works a bit better in cinema than it does on TV, but I don't think I've seen it done very well much on TV. And yeah, this doesn't break the mold. It's still pretty bad here. It's just quite cringy, I think. Yeah, quite cringy. The Enterprise's situation is kind of brushed off quite quickly, which annoyed me a little bit. It was kind of like they've emitted this distress signal and it's kind of waved away in a few lines. Oh yeah, we got disabled. I now need to commandeer your ship, by Pike. And that's it. It's kind of just brushed away, and I don't think we really got enough of the Enterprise. They teased us with it and then didn't really deliver on that. When we saw it at the end of Season 1, I think, we got quite excited. Obviously excited about the potential of Pike and Spock, but the ship itself, I wanted to see more of the ship, and all we got to see was the outside and Spock's quarters, and just a bit disappointed we didn't get to see a bit more. Talking of Pike, Anson Mount does a great job in this episode. I think he was one of the standouts of the episode. He is very charming. He's very sort of Kirk-era captain in a way. He injects a bit of humour into it. He's very charming, but he can be serious when he needs to be as well. And I think that all works really well in this episode, and he does a great job of portraying it as well. Because some people had complained that the last series was too dark and brooding, and just the tone of it was a lot darker than the Trek they liked. Now personally, I didn't mind that so much. I quite like the darker tones. One of my favourite Star Trek series is Deep Space Nine, and that had the whole war thing going on as well, and that was a bit darker than any other Star Trek series, and I really liked that. And I didn't mind that Discovery was going down that route, but they seem to be pulling a bit back away from it now, and that is fine as well, because I do like the humour, and some of the humour that Pike brings is really good. It's kind of slightly understated. He doesn't overplay it. It's kind of very real humour. My favourite line of his from the whole episode was,
expecting a red thing. Where's my damn red thing?
He almost plays the humour straight, which I think works really well. It's very understated, not overplayed. You know, he's quippy, but not in the kind of MCU way, which is, it all works sort of really well. It's not over the top, and I think he did a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing much more of him. However, I can't imagine he's going to stick around for more than one season, because, you know, I know they were a bit fast and loose with the continuity in this series, but, you know, he's got to get back to the Enterprise at some point. He's not going to stay on Discovery, is he? So I can't imagine we'll have him for more than a season. Maybe that's going to be a theme. Maybe we're going to get a different captain every season. I hope not. I hope after Pike we settle on one captain and that captain stays the captain. But we'll see. Might be like Harrison Wells in The Flash, where we get a different one every season. Talking of humour, the humour that they did put into this episode I think mostly worked really well. The one big misstep on the humour front, I think, was the sneeze, which, like, I mean, ew?
Bless you.
I don't care if you're an alien race, it cannot be acceptable to sneeze on somebody and just, like, expect them just to wipe it off and get on with their day. That's not normal, and I get what they were going for, and we clearly weren't meant to like the character that he sneezed on, but at that point I actually didn't dislike that character. It's only a bit later on that he came across as a bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of adversarial, I guess. But at that point he was just a slightly sort of curt science officer, and I didn't at that point think he deserved to be sneezed on. And yeah, it's very strange. I think that fell a bit flat for me, that particular humour bit, but overall the humour on the show was actually, even though I didn't mind the dark stuff last season, was a nice addition. Talking of last season, one thing I did like that they sort of carried over was some of the character arcs. So you had Stamets and his grief over Hugh's death. That was continued through, and I think that was definitely the right choice. And you had Tilly and her entry onto the command training program, and how her arc seems to be her building confidence, and how she's going to go on to become a great leader of some kind in the future. I hope that journey continues, and that they don't just keep her mostly as she is now, and then suddenly in the last episode she becomes captain or something. That would be a bit of a, you know, they need to keep that development going so it feels natural and it is a gradual thing. And they seem to be doing that. You know, she's still got those doubts, she's still very nervous, but she's started to realise she can do stuff, she can be someone. And that's a nice journey to see. Saru was good as always. He's excellently performed by Doug Jones there, and yeah, I mean, I don't have anything particular to say about him other than, yeah, he was continued to be good like he was last series. I really like that character. I feel sorry for the actor though, because that must take a long time to get in all that makeup, but I hope he doesn't tire of it so much that he leaves the show at some point, because he definitely, I think, brings a lot to the show. So I suppose I better talk about Burnham, hadn't I? She is the show's main character. The show took a very controversial, some might say, decision to focus the story on one particular character and have them as the viewpoint to the series, and the one we would follow the most. And we've never really had that before. Even in the original series, although a lot of it was about Kirk, it was more about the trio. So even it was, you know, the trio of Spock, Kirk, and McCoy. In future series, TNG, you know, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, it was very much a full ensemble. You had your main cast who were there every week, and yeah, you'd have episodes focusing on one week and another one the other week, but it was very much an ensemble cast. They've decided to go down the route of having one main character, which I I commend them on the bravery of that, because I do think you need to try new things, and it kind of worked for the first season, but I was kind of hoping they would pull away from it a bit for the second season, because I'm not sure that's sustainable long term on a TV series like this. Sometimes ensemble just works better, and it's fine to start with a focus on one series, but then sometimes it's better to then just pull back and introduce the other characters and really develop those other characters around them, and turn it into an ensemble show from one that was very focused on one character, and that can do great things for a TV series. I mean, look at Orange is the New Black. That started very much focused on the character of Piper in the first season, 2 seasons, and then they started to really, and she sort of fell into sort of just the ensemble by the 3rd season, and all the other characters became much more prominent, including Red. Shout out to our very own Captain Janeway there.
And the little top hat, black, tilted to one side.
Burnham's character as well is one that I have no problem with her being the way she is. I know a lot of people do. People dislike her abrasiveness and the way she talks to other characters. And I don't mind that, but I think it works better. It would work a lot better in an ensemble situation. When you're focusing on just that one character for such a lot of the episode, every episode, it is a bit more tricky and a bit more... It doesn't quite work as well, which is a shame. So I think if they sort of fold her back into it being more of an ensemble cast, those characteristics which might be annoying some people might not be as annoying. I don't know. What do you think? Personally, I know Burnham's a very divisive character. I don't dislike her completely. I think she has some, if I was serving on a ship with her personally, I think I would find her a little bit of a struggle to have conversations with, but that's not necessarily bad for her as a character, because she has that backstory of being brought up in Vulcan, that it kind of makes sense. But I think for us as viewers watching it week on week, I think maybe we need to see her a little less and some of the other characters a bit more, and then those characteristics might not be as problematic. I don't know, what do you think? I am worried about her plot with Spock, because for many reasons I'm worried about that. I have no evidence on how it's going to go yet. I've just got this slightly apprehensive feeling about it. I'm worried about the continuity implications. I'm worried about how they'll handle it, and I'm worried about that line where she says they're falling out, or why they haven't spoken was her fault. What does she mean? And I don't know about you, but I got some strange vibes from that conversation that she was having, and the fact that she didn't want to tell Sarek about why they fell out. It just feels like there's something that she's ashamed of or something, and I'm just slightly worried they're going to go down a route of some kind of romance. I mean, she's his foster sister, so they can't do that. Surely they can't do that. It's just in the moment I thought that, and I thought, oh god, please don't do that, because that would be that's far too far. I don't know if they will. I hope they don't, but we will see. I'm just worried about that whole plot line, and we'll see where the Spock stuff goes. I don't want to judge anything too harshly on the first episode. I want to see how it plays out. I've just got this. I'll just get these sinking feelings out there now and see how it goes. I'm intrigued with the overall plot, story arc that they're setting up here. The angel-looking figures, the pulsars that have appeared throughout the universe, and Spock's going missing. I'm all intrigued by that. It's very intriguing. But we didn't really learn anything in the actual episode we watched that they didn't already give away in the trailers. So it kind of felt like I'd already seen this episode, because so much of it was in the trailers already. So much of the important stuff, so much of the plot stuff was in the trailers, that this episode almost felt like I had seen it already, which I think is probably a fault of the marketing more than anything. But I can't help but hold it slightly against the episode as well. Nothing new I didn't find out anything new because all the important bits I knew already. I'm also slightly apprehensive about what I've heard about the plot. There's apparently going to be a whole faith versus science aspect to it, or spirituality versus science. I don't know, something like that I've heard. That always slightly worries me, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I think, handled that mostly very well. That was a big element of Deep Space Nine, with obviously Cisco being the emissary and things. I think Deep Space Nine handled it very well. So it's not that it can't be done well. I'm just slightly worried. And also, if you've done it once, you did a big lot of Deep Space Nine was about that. Why bother doing that again? Why explore that again when it's already been explored? Unless you think you've got something new to say, I guess. But let's find out. I hope it doesn't go too spiritual. Let's just say that. The episode had great visuals. I think all the CGI. I mean, it was kind of movie level SFX. SFX, that sound effects. Yeah, probably that as well. But also visual effects. Very much movie style. Wouldn't have looked out of place on the big screen. Nice stuff going there. And I really liked seeing the turbo lift scene where you saw the mechanism from outside of the turbo lift and how it goes down the chutes and it's on rails. I kind of liked that. That was interesting. It's the first time we've seen how the turbo lifts get around the ship, because they're obviously not just up and down shafts. They go sideways, they go all around the ship. So it's like Willy Wonka's glass elevator, I guess. But it was interesting to see that. So and it looked nice as well. So that was good. I thought there was a bit too much technobabble in the episode, and that's always been a problem for Star Trek, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s. The technobabble aspect was a bit too much. I just think you don't need it. Obviously it's a sci-fi, you're going to have made up words, made up phrases, but it's when you start stringing them together in a big long garbled sentence that doesn't really mean anything, and the scene that I'm particularly picked up on it was when Burnham and Tilly were talking about how the rock didn't transport with her from the asteroid, and something Tilly said, it just went on and on. Technobabble wasn't needed. Overall, I think the tonal shift they're making is working. It was an intriguing setup to the mystery. I'm worried about a few things that might be coming up, elements that just sort of slightly worry me about how they'll handle it, but we will see. Don't want to judge anything too harshly before I see it. But this episode did kind of feel like it was set up, and like I didn't really get much information. It was set up, but it felt like a prologue. That's what it felt like. It felt like a prologue. I think I said this about the first two episodes of the first season as well, which I thought were actually bad episodes. I think I said that felt like a prologue as well. So maybe that's the theme. Last season started bad, got okay around the middle, and then from the Mirror Universe stuff onwards, I thought was really good. This, I think, I would say it's dipped slightly back down again to just okay, but with potential, but with also potential going both ways. It potentially could be very good, potentially could be disastrous. We will see. I'm going to give it out of 10. 6, I guess. 6. Let's give it a 6. I don't really have anything to barometer of what 6 means, but I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I may adjust that later on. Thank you for watching. What did you think of the episode? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know all your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. You're free to say what you didn't like about it. Absolutely. Free to say what you do like about it. Just be nice to everyone. Everyone's allowed different opinions. It's all good. And I will try and do a review every single week. Probably either up some point around the weekend, because I get to see the episodes on Fridays. So we will see when I get them up. In the meantime, why don't you check out one of my other videos? I've got some other Star Trek videos, so maybe check out this one where I rank all of the Starfleet uniforms. And there's another one that YouTube thinks you might like. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.